Hey everyone, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about balance and how to figure out in your own body why you're losing balance on certain steps. Most of the time, what I've noticed, balance issues come into play on pivots, especially because when we're walking, we might have certain things with our posture going on, but because the walking is easier, those mistakes might not be so obvious. But when we're pivoting, there's momentum and there's centrifugal force that is created between you and your partner. And if your alignment is not right, if there's some sort of misalignment along the spine, then that will contribute to you losing balance in the middle of a pivot. In your spine, there are three places that you need to make sure to align, and I call these the three anchors. The first one is going to be at the base of the spine, which is your sacrum bone, kind of the flat triangular bone at the bottom. So if I tip my pelvis too far forward, even as I'm standing here, I will tend to lose balance from that misalignment. The second point is going to be T12, right around the transition between your lower back and your upper spine. So kind of opposite what you would think of as the solar plexus. So again, if I just stand here and all I do is push out my ribs, eventually that will carry me forward. The last place is going to be your C7, this bump at the base of the neck, that if this point is slightly forward here, already my weight is actually in my toes and I haven't even gone anywhere. So at this point, if to this alignment I also add a pivot, then it will create even more imbalance and you'll feel that sensation of losing the balance. So now I'm going to give you a way that you can learn to test these alignment points in your own body. And for that, you're going to need a partner. And so Eve is going to be testing my balance. So it's a little easier to test this with your flat shoes, but in heels you can also get a lot from testing it, because if you're dancing in heels, you have to find the same level of integration in your alignment for it to work properly in your own balance. So what I do first, and you can do this if you have a partner there with you, is you stand with your feet slightly apart, just about hips width. You don't have to turn them out, just parallel. Knees are a little bit soft, and you want to start with the place of, as balanced as you can be without altering too much. And then what I'm going to ask Eve is to press into my sacrum, apply some pressure, and I should be able to resist that pressure. I should be able to push back. Now, if she were to come around and press into my hip, so that's another point you can test, you should be able to resist in that direction too. Now I'm going to show you how you'll know if it's not working. So let's say I'm standing and the only thing I'm going to do differently here is I'm just going to lock the knees, which I haven't talked about the knees, but if you heard me talk at length, eventually you'll hear me say keep your knees soft. But let's say here I just lock my knees and then Eve is going to push and I'm going to try to resist. I can't resist. It's impossible. So it kind of goes together that you have to soften the knees and align the pelvis correctly. If the pelvis is a little bit tipped forward, when she pushes into me, I won't be able to resist. If the pelvis is tucked too far back, I'll also will not be able to resist. So one way I describe of finding the alignment of the pelvis is if you think about what do you do when you have to push something heavy with your hips, like you're using your body weight to push a piece of furniture? Think about that sensation. And that's kind of what you're trying to approximate, is that level of you're ready to push in any direction. That's how you know. So the other 2 points, you test them the same way. So for example, I'm standing here and Eve is now going to press into that T12 area and I should be able to respond and push back. And when I'm pushing back here, I'm actually pushing into my ball of the foot here. We're exaggerating here a little bit more, so push a bit more. I'm going to really push back. See, I'm pushing into my feet here to go this way. Notice if all I do here, everything else stays the same. I'm just going to allow my ribs to open a little bit. When she pushes, I'm really trying to push back, but I can't because the alignment is now slightly off. With the C7 test, I recommend switching a little bit, and this is something that for leaders you can even use as an imagination tool when you dance. It really helps to elevate your posture. Imagine that you're going to hang off of this spot. So this C7 needs to oppose something in that direction. So the partner can come over and put your hands right on the C7 and then pull. So she should be able to hang. And in fact, if you think about things like colgadas, like for example, if she comes on one foot and stretch it back and hang off of me. Yeah, there you go. So here, she's not on her axis. I'm supporting her. How am I supporting her? It's because I'm pushing into that C7 point to make sure I oppose the force of the pull. So when you're dancing with a partner and you feel that connection to their embrace on the back, think about that you're expanding back into that connection rather than allowing that connection to fold forward and create that misalignment. Once again, I'm just for the purpose of demonstration, if I allow just my head from the C7 to come forward here, just here, and now I would like for Eve to actually push me in the sacrum and push. I can't respond. So even though this is the point where I'm compromised, my head is a little bit too forward, it takes away power from all the other areas of your body. That's why you want to make sure you really align those points together. Now, when you're looking for that alignment with your partner, there are a couple of key things that you want to look for to know that it's happening, especially in close embrace. That's really where it matters. In open embrace, you have a little bit more flexibility for mistakes to happen and not get noticed, but in close embrace, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So the first thing that you want to do is not push your chest out to connect with your partner, but instead come forward and then lean towards each other. And notice right here, there's a little bit of space between us. And this space right there, you want to keep that. This is the sign that our spines are still very much neutral because all we did, and I'm just doing it by myself here for you, so all we did is I went from completely vertical, soften the knees, to slightly forward. Notice nothing changed in my spine. I didn't push, I didn't tuck. So you want to feel that at the same time that your partner is doing. And because you're doing it together, you'll have a little bit of space here, okay? And that space indicates that you will be correctly aligned together. Now, what you want to avoid is exaggerating that space. Some leaders, I feel, end up doing something like this, where they're trying to create more space. But notice that when I dance like this, if for some reason Eve pulled on me here, I won't be able to resist. And so it can create a lot of tension when you have that exaggeration in part of the spine. So if you experience that, look for that alignment. Lastly, I want to give you a sense of what this alignment allows you to do. In a big picture of tango, like how do you really benefit from watching your posture this closely? And that really has to do with the fact that tango dynamics move from fast to slow, more staccato to legato, depending on the music. And to be able to change your tone very quickly, very responsively, your posture has to be aligned. Because if your posture is not aligned, then some of your tension is going to be in the body because you're trying to brace yourself. And it takes the focus off of the task at hand, which is dancing. You're thinking about losing your balance. So let's say I am dancing with Eve, something that's very, very quick. It's going to require her to move really fast and make really short steps. And if I ask her to move a lot around me, notice how she's going to really keep the integrity of her spine and not allow any extraneous movement so that we end up moving as one without a lot of noise. But then we're going to shift to something very different, something much slower. And now she has a lot more time. And we can even separate, and she can elongate her movement. But notice here again, she focuses on keeping the alignment of the spine, right? If you keep the alignment of the spine through the slow movements, it gives you a lot of control. You can slow down, you can speed up. And sometimes within the song, you'll go through this full range of expression back and forth, and you'll have to shift from really fast to really slow very quickly, something like Pugliese or orchestras like that. So having your posture and really understanding how to align during those pivots will really help you create more of that dynamic in your dance. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. If this is your first time with me, welcome, and I hope you choose to subscribe. I post one of these every week on Saturdays, and I hope I see you.